So we did this using a pivot table. So let me rename this as a pivot version. And now let's do it from scratch. Let me create a new sheet, double click, say formula version, because when we do things from scratch, it's because we're using formulas. And the whole thing is literally just replicate this. So the first thing I might want to do is grab my categories. So I'm going to go to the data. I'm going to just copy my category column, go to my formula version, and just paste it. I just want the unique categories. So what I can do is I can just select this column, and under data, there is a remove duplicate tool right here. If you click on it, click OK, it's going to just give you the unique categories now. So that's beautiful. So I'm going to do category. Great. So now I have that column, and then I'm going to also remove the borders. Now what's the next thing? I need the sum of revenue, right? I need the revenue per each category. So for that, we're going to use the sum if function. The reason we want to use ifs is when you have multiple criteria you want to filter by. So it's like only add up the revenue if the category is this and the year is that and blah, blah, blah. So right now we only have one criteria to filter by, which is just category. So the first thing is, what do you want to add? That's your revenue. So you go to your data and you select your revenue column. And if you go back to your formula version, what you'll see is some weird thing. So the revenue column was the B column, so that's correct. But it's saying, okay, the B column in formula version sheet. Formula version sheet is a sheet that I'm in right now. That's like this current B column. I don't want that. I want the B column in my data sheet. And then comma, right now, all you've given the function is the revenue column. What is it going to do with that? This is not a revenue problem. This is a revenue and category problem. So then you have to give it the other column, the category column, that it has to search through. So you want to go back to data, select the category column, and again, it does formula version, but that's the sheet I'm in now. I want the column from my data set. And then comma, out of all of those categories in that column A, what am I actually adding up the revenue for? Well, in this case, we're looking at health. So that's the category that I want to sum up the revenue for. And when you were referring to a cell in your own sheet, because this time it's right, formula version, that's the sheet that we're in, you don't need this. So delete that because it will give you an error. So delete that, also the exclamation point, and then parenthesis, click enter. And then it's saying 537.53. If we go back here, that's exactly what we have. We have 537.53 for health. So we did it correctly. Now we can just extend this all the way down, and it's going to apply the exact same thing. As you can see, then we're missing the grand total. So if we go back here, grand total, well, that's going to be equal to formula auto sum. So it's just going to automatically sum everything above it. Click enter. Let's remove the value filter, clear filter. That's 7549. Here we have 7549. We're correct. Last thing is right click, format cells, let's make it currency, click on OK. We managed to replicate this pivot table using only formulas. Now we can make it pretty, make it into a table. We can select the data, not the grand total, because that's not technically part of our data. Our data are the categories and the sum of revenues. We can go to home, go to format as table. I'm going to do orange. Just click OK. Your table does have headers. It has column names, category, and sum of revenue. So click OK. And now we have our beautiful table, and we can filter by category. Let's say I only want to look at the beauty products. Then that works. But what doesn't work? The grand total. The grand total should be 590.78, but right now it's some weird number. So what you do is you just re-click this, and then it should just work. Now for every time that you select, let's say, books, click OK, and now it should be the same. Also, if it's still not working, that means that when you went over here, you didn't remove the name of your file sheet. So remember, every time you're referring to a cell right here, books A6, this cell right here, it's in the same sheet that you're in. You don't have to specify the sheet. You just say the cell, because that will give you an error and this will not change. All right, so let's go ahead and remove the filters, click OK. The point is we want to replicate this completely, so we want to do top 10. So again, the way to do that is go to value filters, do top 10, click OK, there we go. And everything updates. So how do we do the top 10? Well, we go to sum of revenue and then number filter, top 10, click OK. There we go. That's it. Easy as that. We managed to literally replicate the pivot table using formulas. And then we can do the exact same thing. We can select our data, go to insert, recommended charts. We can go to all charts. Let's try maybe a column chart like that. Click OK. We can sort the values because right now it's all over the place. So right click on any one of the revenues, sort, and from largest to smallest. And we can say sales by category. Or we should say top 10. And we can delete this. I don't know why that's there. And if we don't like these lines in the back, we can just double click until we select them, delete them. And then to make things easier to read, we can right click on the bar and then add data labels, and we can see the amount of revenue for that category. Although I don't know why it's not letting you select, so you'll have to manually add a data label for each. Maybe make the chart bigger so things are spaced out. And that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you in the next.